This is Danielle, and I am just sitting here in Costa Rica. I had said that I was going to go live, and I've never gone live in on YouTube before on my phone. So we'll see how this goes. I don't even know how it's going to go. Um, I don't get it really, so that's interesting. And in fact, I don't even think I'm doing it right, because I said I was going to be here. Let's see what this little dot does. Nope, that's not what it does. Okay, yeah. So going live, going to talk about animals and also about connection. Because I was looking at my comments that you all are making in my comment section of my YouTube. And a lot of people were asking about, how do I connect with my animal? How do I miss them so much, or I love them so much, or I want to be with them so much, or they're here with me, but how do I get closer to them? And I really wanted to spend some time talking today about that, and really doing it on YouTube like this is totally new to me. So I apologize that that I'm a little distracted as well. So I'm looking at your comments, which is great. That's why I wear my glasses, because and actually, let me show you where I am. This is where I am right now. Ready? This is where I am. I am in Costa Rica, and I am doing one of my horse and soul retreats. I do have one coming up next March that only has 5 spots left. And so I am going to look at your comments and see what you're saying. And today we are going to talk about really connecting, what it takes to connect with your pet. Intuitively, emotionally, etc. I do want to walk you through that as well, but I'm going to first look at what you're saying, because I see these comments going by. So, hi, Danielle, watching from Missouri. Kathy Friday. Hi, Kathy Friday. Hello. Mean Mean says hello and thank you. Sherry Zwick. That's a name I haven't seen in a long time. Hi, Sherry. It's really good to see you there. Cookie says hi. Ziggy says, my American Bulldog pit bull named Diggler was my best friend and passed away about 3 months ago, and he was my best friend. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry, Ziggy. I understand. I really understand how hard it is to lose a beloved, family member, a beloved partner in life. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. Rhodey says, hello from Greece. 3 days ago, I lost my beautiful baby Leah. She was the reason I found you. I'm so sorry, Rhodey, for your loss. I think that a lot of people end up finding me when they lose a pet. There's not, I think that there's ways to find help, but they're not always like the ways that we want to find help. Like, I think a lot of people want to understand, like, one of the main things that people ask in my on my YouTube is, are they okay? They crossed over, and are they okay? And I think that that's a question, because I connect with animals that are on the other side, because I do this all intuitively, that those are answers I'm able to give. And able to give very definitively, because I have done it so many times and helped so many people. So I think that's why people usually find me, is because of that type of situation. Mean, my kitty Nina also went to heaven on September 28th. She was almost 18. Wow. And she was 4 weeks and you adopted her. Wow. That's so long to get to be together. My boy Bug passed 3 weeks ago. So you guys are really, who is showing up for this live? You guys are really in a place of current grief. So I think what I'm going to talk about with you all may be really helpful. I was a little unsure about what I wanted to talk about, but you're helping me know what we're going to talk about, because there's a difference for a lot of us between grief that is, there's pre-grief, which is My animal may be about to pass, and I'm already in that. There's I'm in the process. My animal has recently passed. There's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, but there's also of grief. But then there's also grief that is, 5 years, 10 years down the road, and I don't think there's a lot of help for that. I don't think there's a lot of help for people who are deeply grieving their pet who passed, and that pet passed a long time ago. So hopefully I can help you a little bit with that. Um, this message is held for review. Who's writing? Uh, I'm gonna show it. It says, "Always thought she was daddy's girl." That was supposed to say. Yeah, we can show that comment. Don't worry, Mike D. That comment is fine. Um, Kathy, your videos help so many people. Cool. I mean, wouldn't it be good if they weren't helpful? I want people to find help. When I was spending time this morning when I woke up, and let me just show for those of you who are just showing up, I'm in Costa Rica. I'm doing my horse and soul retreat. And so it's the time between retreats. The next group doesn't arrive for a few days. And so I am here, which is a pretty incredible place. That I'm going to use my finger. That is a volcano. That is a volcano. Nicaragua is over there. And then that is also a volcano. um, and then I'm also surrounded by horses because in this retreat we get to connect and work with horses. Um, I lost my place. I get distracted when I'm here a little bit because the energy is a lot. I showed up and cried a lot right away because with the horses and the volcanoes and the different energy in Costa Rica, that it's not. It's better to be honest about how you're feeling. So anything that I was kind of holding inside came out. um, Knowing says you were instrumental during the stage right before Oliver passed and during my initial stage of grieving. I'm glad to hear it. Um, okay, Ziggy says, let's answer this. Ziggy says, how come every time I lose a dog, they seem to stay around for a couple months, then they're gone, and then it says their energy. And okay, so it really I feel like you're making a lot of generalization about it being every time, but I will talk about one of the ways that this does work, which is that animals they give us signs of hello after they pass, and they are around for us after they pass, and they can show up as well. And they do that because they want us to know that they are around. um, they're not doing it necessarily like because you want them to do it to feel better. They're doing it because they want you to know that they're around and they're still accessible. A lot of the time when we stop receiving signs from an animal that has crossed over and we were receiving signs, it's because that animal, and I haven't talked about this in videos, it's because that animal is moving the relationship forward. Yeah, I haven't done a video about this. Really, I haven't. Okay. So what this means is they show up and they give us signs of hello, and I'm around, and I love you, and I'm okay, because they always want to be sure that we know that they're okay. But then once we're receiving those signs, they want that relationship to be more. They want more to happen with this relationship. Meaning, and I think that a lot of people don't understand this when they're in the throes of their grief, but there's so much more that you can have and experience with an animal that has crossed over. We think they're not here anymore. I can't touch them. I can't be with them. I can't play with them anymore. But what you still have access to is their spirit and their wisdom and um, their who they are, because who they are was never their physical body. So, what I teach in a lot of my classes and in my Be Open community, what we experience is how do we continue that relationship even though they've crossed? So, once you're past the part where, wow, and I'm not saying that like you need to get past that part. The part where they're sending signs and messages of love showing up in your dream, or they're sending cool, uh, items that are from them, that part's awesome. And then when you start accepting it, they start going, um, oh, we're going to do more here. And when they start going, we're going to do more here, they stop sending the messages in the same way. Maybe they kept showing up in your dreams, or maybe their collar kept showing up on the floor, or you kept hearing them out of the corner of your eye. That's really cool. But then they go, I think what I want to do is I want to start talking with Danielle, or I want to start giving Danielle advice, or I want to start having more of a back and forth. So they slow down the messages that they were originally sending, and they start giving you other ways of connecting. And this is why I'm always advising people to have a conversation with their animal that has crossed over, in which they leave time and space for that animal who's crossed over to give information back. So it means having a conversation, then waiting a moment for them to respond, so that maybe you hear something, see something, feel something. But leaving that information open, leaving that space open, allows them to give you information back, and allows that relationship to grow, to develop, to adjust. Okay, there's so many comments on here, and I know I missed them, and I apologize. We've got Gina Bella, we love dogs. Hello from Switzerland. Okay. Your videos gave me the courage to make the euthanasia appointment. I understand it's so hard. I'm so sorry, Maya. Um, I feel my willow is still with me. I see the signs. I love it, Patricia. Um, Thank you for your videos. They helped me get through the unexpected death of my cat. You're welcome. You're welcome. Wow, it's kind of hard to be looking at all these comments on my phone. Why did I do this on my phone? I did it on my phone because of where I am. So for those of you who haven't seen yet, this is where I am. I'm in Costa Rica. So my senior kitty has liver cancer and is not doing well. I'm facing next steps. I just don't know what to do for her or when to take her in for her final appointment. So I do have a specific video about this that you may find helpful. And I think I just put it out, and it's something like 5 signs your pet is saying goodbye. And I would encourage you to go and watch that video, because it's very challenging to make that decision. But so often we think that decision is because of us. We think that decision is because of what I'm sorry, we think that we have the ability to make that decision, but really, intuitively, what's happening is the animal is telling us, is helping us and guiding us to make that decision behind the scenes. So if you can kind of relax into, there is a greater force at work here, and it will become clear for you of what you should do, and you can't make the wrong decision. It's going to help you in this situation. But I'd also encourage you to go back and watch that video. It's maybe like 1 or 2, maybe the second most recent one that I put out. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. But I want you to remember there's a spiritual component to all of this as well. Sally, hi from South Carolina. You've helped me a great deal. You've opened my mind. So I do receive signs. That's awesome. That's great. Cookie says, I'm waiting for a sign. I understand. It can be challenging, especially if you're waiting for a specific sign. So remember not to wait for a specific sign. Open it up so it could be any possible sign. Jairo says, hello from Miami. And okay, we have people talking to each other. How cool. You're talking to each other. I like it. My Chihuahua died a year ago. I had him since 2008. After his passing, I came upon your videos, which help with my depression. I'm glad that my videos are helping. So Min Min says, and this kind of goes to what I wanted to talk about today. She says, it's so strange. I don't feel that she left. So I understand that. And how, first of all, how amazing that you don't feel like she left. Like that means you're still tapped into some part of her. And I love that. It is very hard for most people to experience that. So, like, celebrate that you're in that place of feeling like she's not totally gone. There's still something here. There's still someone here, some part of her here. And from that place, it's actually easier to get the signs, and it's actually easier to um, feel connected. So, what I would suggest is if you're in a moment where you're like, I just don't feel like she's gone, I really feel like she's here, take that as a sign that she is here in this moment, right? Because once they pass, they come and go, they visit, and then they go and do other things. It's like a back and you can't see my hand, it's going back and forth like this. They visit and then they go elsewhere, and then they visit and they go elsewhere. So, if you're having a moment where you're like, I don't feel like she's gone, trust that as she is here right now. Um, oh wow, I just looked at the time. It's 1:11 and got Oliver on 11:11:11. I was just saying how meaningful that is, and here we are. Very cool. Um, Another animal communicator told me that Bug would be sending me another cat when the time is right. How do we know when the time is right? Okay, so you don't have to know when the time is right. This is the thing. We humans, we want to take so much control. We want to do it all correct. We want to figure it all out. We want to not miss out on the one where the time is right. But if you can settle in to the idea that there is a bigger picture at work here, that all of these animals are working together on in a way that we don't necessarily understand. Like me with my little puny human brain, I don't understand it all, but I do accept that they're able to work at a level that assists me, that helps me, that supports me at the soul level, that helps me move through this physical world and have this physical body. If you can accept that, what does it mean? It means that you can kind of relax into the idea that you're not going to miss it. When the one is supposed to come into your life, when that cat or that dog or that whoever it is supposed to come into your life, that they will come into your life. And there's nothing you can do to stop it because this is supposed to happen in this moment because they're all working on it and they're all arranging it. If you say no to an animal and that animal is supposed to come to you, that animal will still come to you. Something will happen. If you say no to an animal and that animal doesn't come to you, it's because that's not the one that your past pet was sending you. So get rid of the I'm a human and I need to control this and I need to make sure it all works out and I need to like make sure I don't miss it thing and go into the this is going to be so cool and I am so excited to see who's coming next, who this is and how they'll work with me and how they'll affect me and how they'll be there for me. If you can get into that frame of reference, you don't even have to worry about timing. You don't have to worry about doing it wrong. You don't have to worry about anything. So, how do we know when the time new cat is right? It will happen. And that doesn't mean don't go searching, but trust that it will work out exactly as your animal that crossed over and as the new one want it to work out. Um, a dog just ran by. um, Okay. My cat's sister, litter mate, has been wailing and crying. I'm worried she's going to decline from grief. How can I support her? Okay, in this situation, Adriana, the best thing to do is going to be not to baby her. Okay, we don't baby, but to support her as in I'm here for you. If you want me, I'm here. But we're not hovering, we're not worrying, we're not fretting, we're not watching everything that she does, but we're being around and available for her as she needs to go through her grief. And her grief is specific to losing the physical presence, but she still has access to the spirit of her sister slash litter mate. So you have to manage your energy and make sure you're around, but also that you're available, but also that you're not almost like hovering in a worried manner because that doesn't feel good to anybody. And I know it feels like it's the best thing to do. I just want to be around. I want to make sure she's okay. But it actually doesn't help, which is kind of crazy. I know that it seems like when a pet is grieving, being around them, hovering over them, making sure they're okay, giving them extra food, doing all this extra stuff is great. But it's not necessarily what every animal wants. So let them choose, let them come to you, let them show you what they need. If they're hiding a lot, okay, that's cool. Let them hide a lot and just be available. But don't try to figure it out for them. Be around and allow them to show you. Our human brain wants to figure it out. Doesn't work that way. We think from humanness, so we can't figure it out for them. Let them show you. Let them show you. Okay. Mike D is talking about Luna. He lost Luna on February 24th. He's grieving Luna, who was Daddy's girl. Thank you for sharing, Mike. Kathy asks, how many fur babies do I have? Um, oh my God. I'm talking like I don't even know how many animals I have in my life. I'm surrounded by there's 4 dogs here and there's 14 horses here. None of them are mine, but I have 2 dogs. I have a dog named Tuca and a dog named Oscar. Okay. So Mike D says, I'm pretty sure I've gotten some science here and that I'm pretty sure we're her, but I'm not 100% positive. So what I'm going to ask you to do, and this is what I was going to talk about today, is instead of being like, I want to be 100% positive, count those signs. If you count those signs, what happens is you're changing your mindset to be in a more positive place. And when your mindset is in a more positive place, what happens? It's easier to receive information. It's easier to receive signs. It's easier to trust. So I would ask you to err on the side of I'm going with it versus give it to me more exactly. That's a censoring mindset. It's a skeptic mindset, which, right, everybody should be skeptical. But in this instance, you want more signs. So just go with it. What's the big deal if one of those things wasn't actually a sign, but all these other things were? Do you really care? Right? Cool. Count the one thing. Who cares? And then you can keep piling up the signs because you're in a more open minded place. Rhodey says the place you are now could be, and maybe the place where our beloved pets are running and playing right now all together. That's awesome, Rhodey. I love that you said that. Eduardo says, thanks from Brazil. You helped me so much to get over my beloved Cher passing when she crossed the Rainbow Bridge. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Eduardo. Other people are talking about how much they feel their pet. So what I wanted to talk about today, still heartbroken from my 2 pups passing 2 weeks apart. 2 weeks apart. It's so hard for me. I swear they sent my current pup as she is. 100% mirrors one of my 2 dogs. So that's a cool thing. And I talk about this a lot. Our animals that have crossed over, they work with the new animals that are coming into our lives to bring the new ones into our lives. And then they train them as well. They train them to pick up where the ones that crossed over left off. So that makes sense. Mianmen says, like the video. Yeah, like my video, please. I think it will help. I have an amount of, I can't see that number. So I don't know. Maybe you guys are liking the video. I have no idea. Okay. Tony and Susie Miller's on the move. Danielle, hello. You have helped us so much. Our beloved dog Bindi passed away 2.5 months ago. We miss her terribly, and your videos have brought us so much comfort. And she has come to visit you. That's awesome to hear. Okay, so you guys can keep doing. My pig pet passed away on October 15th. I'm so sorry, Roland. What I wanted to talk about today, and we can start talking about it. Can you? Okay, you guys are, there's a lot of comments here. Oh, you're talking to each other. That helps. So, I was told my other cat is seeing his brother apparate. Can you share what this is like for our pets? I don't know what apparate means. I'm so sorry that I don't know what that means. I mean, I'd love to help, but I don't know that one. So, Adriana asks, do our past pets work with those who are still alive? Well, they help those that are still alive, and they're in connection and communication with those that are still alive, but they're not helping them. They're training them. They're still connecting, and they still kind of hang out together and they give information, but it's not like they're like teaching them anything. It's more like they're training them on how to be in our lives and, help continue helping us. Um, Jewelry says, "Hi, your videos and streams bring so much energy for me. Last days, I kept dreaming of picking up many stray cats. Why it seems my passed away girl, Willie, tries to help me with my grief." Um, well, that's very cool. That your cat who's passed is helping you with your grief through dreams. That's a common thing. So I thought it might be cool to talk about how, and I did start talking about it earlier and I got distracted by who knows what. I thought it would be cool to start talking about how can you connect with your pet who's alive or passed, but how can you start to create this kind of psychic connection like that I have? And obviously I have full classes where I teach this in depth, and so we're not going to do an in-depth class in this moment, but what we are going to do in this moment is talk about what it takes to get you there. I want to start getting you there. Some people have more, can get there more easily, and some people struggle a little. So I thought if I kind of helped you get over the like some of the humps that people run into, you could start connecting with your pet through the way that more closely to an intuitive way. So when you're connecting in a more of an intuitive way, you can do this with animals that are here or that have crossed over. That animal actually doesn't need to be with you. So if your animal's still alive, they can be in the other room, they can be in the other town, it doesn't matter. And if that animal has crossed over, you don't need to have any item of theirs with you. You don't need to have anything. Like this is all happening through energy. So I want for people to understand how much more freedom we have in doing this than we think. Because I think a lot of people think, well, if I'm gonna feel him, he crossed over. If I'm gonna feel him, I need to have his collar, or I need to have his ashes with me. But the thing is, they don't really care about the ashes because that's the physical body. They moved on from the physical body. What they care about is emotional and intuitive connection. That's what they want. That's why they hang around. And that's why they give us these signs. That's why they let us know that they're around after they cross over. So this connection, I'm in my horse and soul retreat in Costa Rica right now, and I was just earlier in the week we were doing some animal communication. I was teaching some to the people who are participating, and they, the best way that I can get somebody who's not taking a full class to like drop into connection. And for those that are skeptical, you're going to be like, Danielle, that's like they're. But I get people to use their imagination to drop into the connection. Because imagination, when we think of imagination, we put no limits on ourselves, right? If I told you, do this specific method to connect to your pet on the other side and do these things like this and take this much time and blah blah blah, most people get all up in their head, right? And they're like, but what about this? But what about that? I don't know about this. Da, 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 da. Because we put restrictions and we want things to be a certain way, right? We want to connect with that animal that's crossed over, and we want it to be very specifically structured like this. And what if we're getting it wrong? We're not going to have that connection happen. But if I were to say to you, hi, Sam 805, first time catching you live. If I were to say to you, um, instead of trying this specific method with this timing and these steps and this thing and da da da, if I were to say to you, use your imagination. I say to this to my students all the time, especially because in my classes, I do have specific steps. I do have specific ways for people to connect. But if I were to say to you, start with your imagination, people get rid of all the preconceived notions that they had. They just kind of drop it away and they're like, all right, who knows? I'll use my imagination. And it opens the doors to the connection. So if you are deeply grieving a pet who has crossed over, or if you're looking to connect with your beloved pet who's still here, the best thing you can do, short of taking one of my classes, is to imagine the connection. And I know that's so hard because you're like, well, how do I know when it's my imagination and when I'm making it up and etc. Well, in the beginning, you are making it up. In the beginning, you're using imagination. You're just kind of like running into it, being like, all right, let's go, and letting whatever happens in your imagination happen. But our animals are very clued into this. They're very clued into our emotional state and our energetic state. We're in that open minded place, and imagination does that. So they will really quickly tap into that and start taking over. So you're not any longer in imagination. Instead, you are in this place of intuitive connection. So I know that people don't love that idea. And of course, I can teach you real solid steps as well. But for now, when you're here in this connection, in this YouTube connection with me, can you instead see what it's like if you just take a moment to close your eyes and imagine you have intuitive connection with your pet, whether they're on the other side or still alive? What happens if you imagine it? How do they show up in your head when you imagine them? Now, 99% of the people who stop and allow this to happen, what will happen is their pet will show up like happy. They'll feel happiness. They'll see happiness. Suddenly they'll feel happy in themselves, or the emotion of happiness is there. And why is that? It's not because I'm imagining myself being happy, right? It's because this animal is happy. And it's because they want you to feel that. They want you to experience that. And they want you to know that there is an internal happiness inside all of them. And so when you feel that kind of happiness, that's your sign. Connection is happening. And yes, you can connect in, and obviously in animal communication readings, I can have big conversations. We can talk about unhappy things as well and all of that. But just for that initial little moment there, that initial connection, when you feel that happiness, I want you to understand that that's coming from them. Paul is saying, when a friend crosses over and a few years later, another little puppy comes into one's life with almost the same appearance and has all the same behavior, is this coincidence or cohabitation? Hey, Paul, how about it's neither? So what happens is our animals who have crossed over, they train. They know who to bring. They know who's coming next into our lives, and then they train them. They train them in everything that we need to know. I'm sorry, they train them in everything that they need to know to show up for us and work with us in the best way possible. And sometimes that involves the one that's coming in needs to look or have a behavior like the one that's crossed over, so that you keep your heart open to them. Okay, we're going to keep going. Since my dog, Sophia Grace, died, she keeps sending me homeless cats. All right, at least you know, Carrie. Okay. Somebody says you're live, and then the happy face, and then this. I have my hands busy, but two of these, so that's very nice. So what I'm hoping that you're starting to see as you listen to this is that your animal is always accessible to you, and the animal is accessible to you, not just physically when they're alive, but also through this intuitive connection. And for those of you that are deeply grieving that intuitive connection, that physical connection, what I want for you to understand is there is still that intuitive connection for you to experience. And yes, you can experience it even when you're deeply in grief. It is still there. Adriana says, thank you so much, Danielle, for your guidance. It's helped so much the dizzying overwhelm of grief. Yeah, we don't expect it. And we don't expect it, and there aren't places, a lot of places that truly understand. And I feel like people here on my YouTube channel are not just here grieving and looking for people who are in the same situation, but I feel like if you're here on my YouTube channel, it's because you're also interested in, well, how can I continue the relationship? How can I keep going? How can I not have my beloved animal that's crossed over be totally out of my life and I only have my memories? And that's why I just spent that time sharing with you about the first steps to really find that intuitive connection and be in that intuitive connection. There is so much that happens when you're in that intuitive connection, at the level of emotions, also at the level of seeing things or feeling things, but also at a subconscious level that I don't even know what's going on when that, I don't even know because I'm conscious like that. I can tap into what the animal is saying, but not necessarily all the sub stuff. Um, oop, 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 oop. This says, my dog lays with me in bed and licks my forehead. It feels electric. I can also feel her moving around in the bed. You need to believe and don't second guess it. So clearly, she's talking about her dog who crossed over doing all of these things. Um, Lindsay says, hi, I did the dog's name. I would love a visitation. Hi, I did the hi dog's name. I would love a visitation. Please enter my dream and send me a message and make sure I can remember in the morning. And it's not, oh, working. There we go. Okay. So, Lindsay, that may mean for you that right now your dog doesn't want to send a message through a dream. And hey, that's totally cool, right? We got to be cool with how they want to give information. We got to be cool with how they want to visit us or send us messages of love. So, what I would say, Lindsay, is that instead of continuing to try doing this again and again, take a break, right? Take a break. What you could do is when you wake up in the morning, say to your dog, hey, dog, would you give me a sign of any kind today? I'm going to be totally open minded to it. Or you can say, to maybe take the pressure off, over the next few days, would you give me a sign, any sign? So, what we want to do is put you in a place where, yes, you're open to a sign, but you're not so seeking a sign like, give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign. Because what that does, let me see if I can adjust the phone, is when we're in a place where we're like really trying to get a sign from our pet on the other side, it creates almost like a tunnel vision. So when I'm teaching animal communication, this is what I teach, that we want to be in the most open and receptive place. So I want to be able to I want to be able to receive, if we imagine that there's always intuitive data from any animal coming toward me. So it's like, choo, 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 all this intuitive data from the animal coming toward me. I want to be in a place where I can capture as much of that as possible. That's what I teach in my classes how to do. With your animal that's crossed over, if you're just like, I want you to do the dream thing because the dream's so cool, and it is, I know it, it's really cool. Getting a visitation at night, I'm sure you watched that video, awesome. But it's not right for everybody all the time. So, but if you're in the place where let's do it, give me a dream visitation, what you're doing is, instead of catching all the intuitive data flying at you from your beloved pet on the other side, you're narrowing the tube and you're basically like, give me this one intuitive data and only this one intuitive data. Let's open your mind up to maybe it being any intuitive data. So that way we're not narrowing the tube through which all the intuitive data can come. And we're kind of saying, whatever, going to make it a lot easier for you to have your dog show up for. Once you get the first thing that happens, or if it's big or little or what, go with it. And that's going to open you up for even more signs. Okay. Monica says, wondering if talking to him like he is still here opens the channels for communication. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Um, Sammy says, I just keep praying for a visit from my babies. Awesome. You can get a visit. But how about you change it from from a visit to a sign, and that will open up the energy so that it can be anything rather than only a visit. Okay. Patricia says, I talk to my Maisie every day. Can she hear me? Is she listening? Yeah, they can hear. You know, in an animal communication reading, one of the coolest things, I love when animals do this too, is like you connect in with the animal, the person is, you know, on the other end of the phone or whatever. And the animal, without the person saying anything, the animal's like, hey, I hear you, you've been talking to me while you're doing dinner, or I know you told me about this, or they like give that confirmation before the person can even ask. They really do hear what we're saying. They really do hear when we talk to them. They also answer back, which is why you want to leave space and time for them to answer back. You don't need to do it like a sports announcer. I am walking through the kitchen now. I like we don't that's not very interesting or cool. But actually having conversations with them, telling them about your day, telling them you miss them, you know, all of that kind of stuff is a really great way to engage with them, and also to start having more of that back and forth relationship that they want, that I bet you want too. So yes, Maisie can hear you and everything that you're saying, and is also aware of everything that's going on in your life, everything that you're dealing with. Like if it was an animal communication reading, remember I don't do private readings. It was an animal communication reading. Maisie could, you know, talk about exactly what you're doing and what's going on with you, and she may even have some insight into some of your challenges because she's around you and aware of you all the time. Amber says, I have a candle also that has batteries. It's turning on and off, and I'm not turning it on and off. That's really cool. That's a great sign. um, One day I was about to cry, and all of a sudden I felt my dog's energy right in my heart. I felt her and couldn't cry. Yep, that's a great sign. Really great sign. Okay. So I love the word positivity. I sign all my emails off with positivity. So that's really cute. PAWS. So I like that this person's name is Positivity with Kriti. I lost Nero. I lit a candle and prayed. Asked him if met Tofik Pu. He was there. Cold breeze. I don't know what it means, but I can tell from this that Positivity with Kriti is saying that they got a really cool sign. So that's awesome. Um, Albert, I'm so sorry for you. Oh, you guys are. I love that you're talking to each other. That's super helpful. I had a dream that my dog visited me, but it was like he guided me. He was guided by someone to come to me. I felt him jump all over my bed. So, you know, I don't know about guided by somebody. They want to do that. They come and they visit and they hang out. And I would say the bed thing, I put a poll out recently on my YouTube, and people were saying, I was like, what's the number one sign you've gotten? What's the most cool sign? And everybody's like, on my bed at night. So that's really cool. Um, Okay, Danielle, thank you. Thank you so much for everything. I lost my little girl a few years back, and it was your videos that helped me get through the pain. I'm so grateful for your kindness and insight. Oh, you're welcome. Antonio, hi, Danielle. It's great information. Hi, Antonio. Okay, so Pluto would stare at me. I love him so much, Amber says. So, Amber, sounds like you are. Missing your beloved pet who Pluto who crossed over. You know, one way to reconnect with Pluto that you might be looking for is actually to go back into the moment of remembering that stare of love, and that can actually call Pluto to you so that you can perhaps feel Pluto being around you. Okay, he's absolutely doing great. Okay. Well, this was really fun, you all. I appreciate everybody being here with me, and I'll do this again real soon. And thank you. Okay. Bye, everyone.